Oh, I escaped the dungeon, but they're hiding more jewelers in there. Eileen Donan Castle, that's where the marked jewelers are. I must find them. I must find a way in. Follow me! I must traverse the rocks. This muddy path is the one I must follow to the marshes. But first I must traverse this raging rapid river. How will I do it? Oh! This is the only way. But wait, there's another. I found another way in. Oh man, they charge money.
West Coast Davengers. West Coast Davengers. Ah! Ah!
Welcome back, Davengerinos. This is Dave, your host, and I bring to you my final part of my UK trip. And this is the third episode you're seeing in the country of Scotland. And honestly, I've been delighted to revisit this as I edit it. I really hope that you enjoy what you're about to see. But first, don't forget,
Do the thing.
Aye, I think it's time you hit the subscribe button.
at this point, I'm either at 2,000 subscribers or I'm a little bit beyond. But if you're just joining the ride, it's gonna be great. I'm gonna keep doing stuff like this. Every Wednesday, my claim sale right here on YouTube, West Coast Wednesday. See, it's Wednesday, but it's Wednesday. You get it. Please, if you enjoy this, I implore you to check out my brand new podcast with the one and only 9.9 newsstand, my friend Manu. The name of the podcast is called It Came From the Newsstand. It's available in every platform that you can find podcasts: Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon. And if you enjoy it, please subscribe to that too. It just helps. It doesn't hurt. Unless, you jam your thumb into your phone so hard that you fracture something. But that's on you. That's not on me. Anyway, I want you to enjoy this. I visit Glasgow. I hit all the stores that I can hit. And then I fly home. So enjoy the footage. And I'll see you on the other side. Okay, I won't sing it. This is a store in the center of the city called Geekaboo. Geekaboo. Kind of a silly name, but it was a fun store. I had no clue that it existed. I just happened to be walking past it, and it's got a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Dollar comics, pound comics. Ellie. American in Glasgow. I'm in Glasgow, Scotland. Gonna go to a couple of comic stores today. A1 Toys, which is also a comic store. I'll check out the Forbidden Planet, even though I don't really expect much. And then I'm gonna make my way to City Center Comics. I love Scotland. This is my last day here. And what else am I gonna do? It's the West Coast Davengers invading Scotland. A1 Toys. I think I was here once. It was a comic store. And now it's more of a toy store. We're gonna find out what they got. Supposed to have comics. What's interesting about this is I didn't have a voiceover for this scene originally, but because there's a Miley Cyrus song playing in the background, I had to do a voiceover because YouTube called it a copyright infringement. So you're going to listen to my voice for a little bit while I look through comics at A1 Comics and Toys. There was a lot to look through here at A1 Comics and Toys. Lots of toys, lots of comics. And so I checked out a little bit of everything, and then I started digging through the bins. And unfortunately, I didn't find anything I needed or anything I had to have. Prices were a little bit higher, on the higher end, which I get it. They're in a main city. but it just wasn't anything that I was looking for or willing to pay. One of the greatest Spider-Man books of all time right there. That is the megalomaniacal Spider-Man. Miley Cyrus is still playing, so you can listen to me talk about how I love to look through Spider-Man books as a litmus test for a comic book store. There was a couple minor keys in there, but with the price difference in exchange rate, I just didn't think it was a good deal. I probably should have bought this Darth Maul #1, even though that key dropped after Cad Bane died in Book of Boba Fett, but I still think that's a good book to have.
Cheers, Miley Cyrus.
Misa.
Or overseas investments. Or if you were not told your investment was high risk, any clients would like to talk to you and check your eligibility for compensation.
Let's just see if it's a newsy. It's not.
Try it tonight and see how you are tomorrow. We'll check back in. Right, here's something brand spanking new from Geekaboo, a South Korean DJ and producer. This is killing it right now in the club. It goes like na na na.
Have a good day. One was kind of a bust, so no luck there. On to somewhere else. I don't know.
They say some of Glasgow's alleyways are haunted, and I took a wrong turn, and it was very weird. I heard this ghostly voice right here.
Alright, last Forbidden Planet on the list. Everybody says this is a good one, but I don't believe it because it's all probably trades, hardcovers, toys. It's another hot topic. We'll see.
Now, I've been kind of talking down about Forbidden Planet for this whole trip because I've been to all the stores, but I'd never been to the Glasgow one. People told me that this was a really good store and it was special. And even up until a moment before I walked in, I was bad-mouthing it, and I got to admit, I was extremely wrong.
Jason Edmonston artwork. Maybe I was wrong.
Not only was I impressed that they had a lot of local published stuff, but over here in the glass cases, they had some pretty big books. A lot of them didn't have prices, and the person that worked there told me it was because they didn't want to advertise how much they're worth because they don't want this case to get broken into at any point. But some bangers in there.
Alright, I was wrong.
The top of these shelves was filled with all sorts of artist editions and artifact editions, which I know that some of them are out of print, and I would love to have bought them, but it would have cost me just as much to get them home via shipping or putting them in my suitcase where it wouldn't fit. I was told that there were back issues upstairs, and to my surprise, it was loaded with a lot of great stuff to look through, and even more stuff in these glass cases.
Alex Ross, the sketch variants, first Echo, second Echo. Wow, that Ditko variant's cool. Alright, so we got a Deadline 3, which I already bought this trip. Oh Lord. Did you buy that? I don't know.
Oh, that's actually
här och löst den här för att få.
Yeah, this is where they tell you the comic book store is, and then they murder you.
Here is City Center Comics. This was the last store on my list, and it was one that was recommended to me because it's been around for a long time. It took a little while to find it. Once I went in, I just kind of realized that this wasn't my type of shop. It was too dark, and most of the keys that were on the wall were either facsimiles or they were just a little way overpriced, and I just had a feeling I wasn't going to find anything in here for me, and I was right. I didn't find anything in here for me.
Oh, Lord. It's $10 in the other store.
You can literally be on once they were security checking your phone and all that every 2 days. Because you could go missing apparently. Which was it's kind of fun, man. he just assumed he'd get earlier and he could watch like streaming stuff now. He didn't really take a lot. So the thing is he was a bit worried with time as such. Sorry man, that stuff's not for sale, man.
Oh, it's not?
I'm just still pricing this up, I'm afraid.
Do you have any like the UK sized old Marvel stuff, the hardcovers?
They're in my storage unit, I'm afraid. I only take them to the marks and stuff. I've got no space really for them in here.
Yeah. Because they're oversized.
I've got multiple runs, but because of the size of them, they're just space is an issue, I'm afraid.
All right.
Sorry, man.
That's okay. And I can never find any of that stuff in the States. It's not there at all.
Well, Captain Britain, it's always the same issues. People buy like the number 1 and the silent one.
Yeah, then number
then
8.
Then you're left with the rest.
Yeah. I really like the hardcover annuals because that you just they're
you got a lot of them now. They go right away. I've got a soft spot for them myself.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I bought a bunch last week.
Yep. I just want to make this official. I just need a letter, write a letter, and basically explain every single thing that happened. No. You can. I mean, it's thousands of pounds. Then you know.
Right before I flew out, I managed to find a comic on the newsstand.
West Coast Davengers. All right, well, journey home begins right now. I'm at the airport in Glasgow, getting on my flight to London. What an amazing trip. I can't wait to get home, but can't wait to show off all the stuff I got. And you're going to be seeing this towards the end. But anyway, thanks for watching. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe and go to Scotland.
So I got to Glasgow after a couple of days on Sky, and I went to, I think that store was called Geekaboo. It's like the all-around kind of hot topic, but all geeky stuff. I don't know what the equivalent is of it in the US, if there is an equivalent, but it's just kind of like everything. Shirts and posters and toys and graphic novels. They have a little vintage stuff, but it's like priced a little more. Anyway, I looked through the store, and I looked through the books, and then I just was passing the graphic novels on the way out, and I just looked, and it's something I'm always looking for, and I found it. The Last of Us, American Dreams, a trade paperback from Dark Horse. This is the only comic book series they ever did about Last of Us. It's written by Neil Druckmann, who created the game, wrote the game. I think this is about Ellie before the part of the game called the Left Behind, which was the DLC content. Anyway, it's the last piece of Last of Us that I haven't experienced or read. You know, I've played both games multiple times. I've watched the show, and I've wanted to read this, but it's super out of print. And I have copies of the single issues, but I don't want to handle them. So I got this. This was, and I'm kind of saying this as a joke, but it's probably true. This is probably the last new copy on the shelf of this book anywhere in the world, and I bought it. I paid $18.99 for it. Just roughly about $20 something, 22, 23. It sells for between 40 and 50. I mean, I just bought it to read it, so I'm really stoked about that. This was like a huge win because I joked about it with the guy at the counter, and I said I've been actually looking for this book in multiple states and now multiple countries, and I finally found it. I was apprehensive about going to Forbidden Planet in Glasgow. You saw Forbidden Planet in London is kind of whatever. It's just, there's nothing interesting there. Forbidden Planet Edinburgh, same thing, nothing interesting there. I've been to the Forbidden Planet in New York a couple of times. Obviously, I used to live there, and it's not interesting either. But this Forbidden Planet was the store. Downstairs in the back, you got your trades, you got your new books, you've got some higher end stuff in the glass cases, you've got toys, shirts, all that stuff in the front. As you saw in the video, when I went to the back, you know, all I pulled out were these two Arthur Adams 2022 sketchbooks. Both are signed, and I figured I bought one to keep, and I bought one to sell. They sell for a pretty penny. There's signed by him. I talked to the girl at the counter, and she said, "Oh, have you been upstairs yet?" I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, all our back issues are upstairs." So I got up there, and you could see in the video that there was plenty of stuff to look through, but I immediately headed for the UK-sized vintage stuff. I found this Marvel Superheroes Summer Fun book, Liam Sharp cover. I haven't looked in it yet. Spider-Man Weekly with Mysterio. But the real gem was the Superheroes Silver Surfer number 5, featuring the first appearance of Mephisto. That's the cover of Silver Surfer 3. And then I also found a copy of Dark Horse Presents 5th Anniversary Special, which I have graded. But this is the first appearance of Sin City in comics. So now I have a raw copy, and I'll just sell the graded copy. That was a fucking great store. I gotta say, Forbidden Planet Glasgow is a must. Glasgow's a fun city. I like Edinburgh more, but I walked around that entire city. I went to City Center Comics, and it's funny because that was recommended to me by Mark Miller when I tweeted at him, and he replied. That store is not good. I was not happy with it. As you could see in the video, it was super dark. There was really not a lot of stuff to look through. There was boxes and boxes of stuff that you couldn't look through. Plus, I was not really happy with the fact, if you looked on the wall books, he had a bunch of facsimiles from Marvel that came out within the last year to 3 years, and he had them priced so high. I can't remember off the top of my head, but you saw it in the video. It was like Hulk 181 facsimile was 25 pounds. It is a cover price book. That book is not worth more than cover price. I'm excited to go back to some of those stores some point down the line. The day that I was leaving, July 20th, was the release of the first ever Miles Morales solo book in the UK. Miles Morales Spider-Man number 1 by Panini Comics. This is only available in the UK. I believe the other version of this is probably the Italian version made by Panini. This was available on the newsstand. This is a newsstand comic. I was afraid that I wasn't going to find any copies of it. And it's funny because Forbidden Planet actually had them on sale the day before they were supposed to come out. But I bought a stack of them at the airport. And it's not the first appearance of Miles, but it is his first solo UK comic. And I think that will have value as time goes on. I got a couple of these Marvel Panini Spider-Man 60th Anniversary magazines. It just goes through Spider-Man through all his years. It's just a little fun little articles. I'm excited to read it. Going to be selling a couple of these too. So that was just a bonus. I bought so much stuff. I ended up having to get a second suitcase, and my bags were just overflowing with comics. As you saw in the last couple episodes, those stacks that were here, all that stuff came from this trip. Well, I hope you really enjoyed this 5-part series of my London and then Scotland trip. UK comic digging was a blast, and I can't wait to go back. And I will. I've been there so many times, and it's like a second home for me, and I can't wait to do it again. But I'll probably explore some other places and dig comics there. I think the next place I'm going to go is the Great White North, Canada. And maybe I'll hit Japan at some point. That would be exciting. But if you enjoyed this, please spread it around, spread the love. I really love comics, and I hope that you can feel the love. Can you feel the love tonight? I hope I represented these comic stores in a good light. I hope you visit them. I'm going to put a list down below that you can see all the comic stores I visited on the entire trip. I really hope you can join me on some more of these adventures right here on the West Coast Davengers.
Okay.
Oi. Hello, you cunts.
That's probably not going to make it to YouTube, but